Hi, everyone. Welcome back to this week's episode of The Wandering Hedge Witch with me, The Wandering Hedge Witch. I am excited and nervous to talk today. I don't know why, but I wanted to talk about something that is very popular to talk about, but no one really explains what it is or some of the side effects, and that is your shadow side, your shadow self, the dark parts of us that we repress. So think of all the unconscious things that we put on the back burner, desires, fears, emotions, our inner shadow being, these things that we put on the back burner just start to build and build and build. And then they come out as jealousy and judgment, aggression, anger, sadness, depression. And it's because we're not living honoring both sides of ourselves. We're not living in the love that we deserve to give to each of ourselves. And we are literally essentially playing a part. The concept of shadow self comes from the psychoanalysis that Carl Jung developed. He believed that the shadow self was the counterweight to the persona that we give to the world. So I wholeheartedly agree with this. I believe that I believe so many of us tend to give society and others, significant others, friends, teachers, managers, whatever it is, we give so much to other people that when it's time for ourselves, we have nothing left. And I fully understand that a lot more now because I am now dealing with being a new mom and essentially going through the same thing where I'm giving so much every day, so much to our daughter and my husband and the house and keeping things together, our 8 dogs, and keeping things on my mind consistently that when it comes time for myself, I'm so unmotivated to do something because there's nothing. You can't give from an empty well, right? So this is part of my shadow self journey now in my 40s. I have seen evidence of the different cycles that we all go through. My cycle tends to be every 5 years, I go through a catalyst where I go through another layer of my being for transformation and healing, another layer of my shadow self, another layer of, you know, coming out of my cocoon. Excuse me. Oh my God. And going into a new chapter. I think everyone's on different cycles. I believe some people are on a year cycle. I believe some are on a 10-year cycle. And when I say cycle, I say that because personally, I have seen evidence of others doing this, and personally, I've seen myself do this, where it is a consistent 5-year cycle that things are coming to the surface, essentially. So, some of the things to look for when you are working with the shadow self or you need to work with that shadow self is these characteristics that pop up. Like I said, you'll start to notice certain signs like anger, temper, uh, why is everyone stupider than I? That kind of attitude. The shadow self will come out in things such as, like I said, anger and resentment. It also comes out in these negative impulses. So if you're desiring the two biggest things that we desire are love and money, right? So if you're desiring one of those things, but you are not quite ready to experience that type of abundance or that type of manifestation at the moment, that you still need to do healing, the universe, your higher powers, gods, goddesses, whatever you attest that to, it's going to come out in these negative impulses where they're going to send you something similar to test that. Do you really want this? What are you going to do to achieve this? What are you going to do to heal this? What are you going to do to uh, put this in your life? And we tend to forget that, you know, this type of stuff happens. So when it does happen, we're like, "Oh, see, nothing ever works out. Ah, I never can pick the right person, or I never get the right job, or, oh, woe is me. I always make the wrong decisions." No, you really don't. You're having a human experience, and you're the spiritual being that's learning these lessons. And while you made a decision, it doesn't necessarily mean bad or good. It's a decision that catalysts your experience in this plane and in this realm to move up, to learn about your shadow self. Uh, I personally, this is something that I've only started to come across as I got older. I have noticed that a lot of time my impulses positive. I get a lot of creativity when I'm working with my shadow self. And I noticed the other day that I've dabbled without realizing into chaos magic, which stems from that shadow self, that dark part of your being, your soul. It's not really dark, doesn't mean bad. And I've realized that when I am frustrated or angry or overwhelmed and judgmental, or these negative impulse come through, I also start to see the positive, because when I speak it out, things happen. So, for example, I, as many other women in my position, experience the disconnect between you and your spouse when you have your first child together, and you are dealing with all these emotions and feelings and hormones, and the way it was versus the way it is, and the way you were versus the way you are now. And you get in a lot of different tips. And it's not that my husband and I don't love each other. We love each other very much. But I've noticed that we've gotten in a lot more arguments. Well, the other day we got in a really big argument, and I called my friend and we talked for probably about 2 hours while I was doing laundry instead of recording this podcast. But, hey, whoops. Uh, But it was in this moment that I saw the positive part of it, because as I was speaking out and I was continuously balancing out with, this is what we're going through, this is what I want to accomplish and achieve, and this is what's happening, I was putting out this chaos magic. And within a week, I started to notice the things that I wanted to see in my significant other started to come to fruition. And I was like, wait a minute, how did that happen from talking about this argument that we had? Well, I was actually performing some chaos magic, because what I didn't realize is a lot of the stuff that he needs to heal is very similar to what I have to heal in my shadow self. And as I was putting it out there, I was telling well, we attest it to the gods and goddesses that we follow. I was telling the gods and goddesses, hey, this is him going through a transition. I really am trying to help him. Please show me how to help him. Let me see, like, encourage me, this, that, and the other. Also, please show me, please heal this argument. I'd really like us to get connected again, this, that, and the other. Lo and behold, here we are. We're still together. That fight to us at this point is kind of ridiculous, the stuff we fight about sometimes, but isn't it all? Another part of your shadow self is the primal instincts that we tend to hide. I personally am a very free spirit, a very feral person. I choose to walk barefoot as much as possible. Um, I'm 41 years old, and the thought of running through the woods with my outfits on and being free is still a big dream for me. So it's very primal. I really like getting back to nature. Um, Same as my husband is very primal. We've tapped into that part of our shadow selves where we are not ignoring or uh, smothering and suffocating those primal urges that we have. And I'm not talking about sexual primal urges. Yes, those are fun and those come with the territory, but it's more of the we really need to howl at the moon right now because that's part of our being. So these start to come up when you're working with your shadow self. Your primal instincts, the things that you were denying your soul, which leads to, like I said, if you're not letting these things out and you're putting them on the back burner, these lead to emotional responses and being very emotional and very touchy-feely if, somebody hurts your feelings or you're misunderstood. You tend to look like you're regressing into your more immature natures. You can tend to be violent a lot of times, and that's because you need to get that energy out. So when I'm working with my shadow side, really, really like going to the gym because you're getting that out there. And I say the gym, I am very much an outdoorsy person and like to hike, but if you follow me on social media or you've listened to my podcast or read my blog, you know right now we live in the Rockies and we have 9 months of winter. And right now we are being uh, we are in the realm of getting another winter storm. So going to the gym is more of an option than I need to get outside and go for a run. But anywho, I tend to have that urge to get that energy out because if I don't, the violence start to come out in the most ridiculous manners where you start to throw things. I mean, the other day, y'all, I threw a bottle of Tums at my husband because I was just so frustrated with like the situation and he was really just being flirty. And I was having one of those moments and I was trying to deal with something internal and I was projecting and it came out with, well, here, you just have the bloody Tums. And the look he gave me, I will never forget. Just looked at me like, did you just throw these Tums at me? So these are some of the things that can come out when you start to work with that shadow self. So don't be afraid. It's all normal. This is all something we all go through, we all deal with. Just remember, take a breath, do some sage, meditate, call upon your deities, and center yourself. These are those moments where you really need to do those woosah seconds. Working with your shadow self, I highly recommend being very patient and very compassionate with yourself. You're going through something that you're going to bring up past traumas. You're going to bring up things from your childhood that you need to heal. You're going to sit at a stoplight at one point and start to cry out of random because something reminds you of something memory in your past. And that is your shadow self saying, hey, right now in this moment, we need to heal this, that, and the other. I highly recommend being open, being curious, but also staying very modest, very humble. A lot of people, when they first go through it, I did this, I can't say I'm perfect, I get it. But when I did this and I started in my 20s working with my shadow self, you can get really cocky because when you heal that, you are going to start experiencing this power within yourself and you're going to find that you just never knew you had this power in you. Try to be as less judgy as you can. Judgment is a big one. For me, when I'm working with my shadow self, I am hella judgy, and I hate that I'm judgy. I hate during this period of time that I'm working with it that I get judgy. And that's because that's something within me that's coming out and saying, hey, why is this person envious? Or why are you envious of this person? And that's something that you work with, right? It's also very common when you're working with these subconscious repressed feelings and desires and fears and emotions that you tend to get in disbelief. You have to remember that when we are healing ourselves, our brains and our beings want to stay comfortable. So they are going to put this energy out there so that you see things to prove your disbelief. So you can say things like, see, nothing ever works for me. I never receive money. Oh, that person's never going to like me because of this. Oh, I need to do this before I can be that. So you get in this energy of disbelief. Like I said, show up for yourself and for others with compassion and sincerity. Be fully in it. Pay attention to what people are saying. Pay attention to what you're saying. Follow the signs. Follow the messages you were receiving. And one of the biggest things I'd like to tell a lot of my clients is when you show up with sincerity, these are some of those moments when you really need to give yourself a hug. Give that child inside of you that hug. Hey, we're working things out. We can do this together. You got this. Give yourself that confident boost. Another thing that I like to have my clients do is I usually do a superhero exercise where I tell people to create a superhero or heroine of themselves, and then their shadow side is not necessarily the villain, but the person that they have to save or help. And this is visualizing with your shadow. This is giving your shadow a hug. This is that same sincerity. This is to connect you and your shadow. So if you think about it, when Peter Pan came out, uh, the cartoon, the movies, the play, I don't want to say came out because that was way back today, but Peter Pan, right, is a great example. So he loses his shadow and is not a whole him until he connects with his shadow again. So it's very similar. Visualize yourself in your shadow and connect back with that shadow. What desires are you trying to show me? What fears do I need to face? What emotions do I need to regulate? What things did I repress for the past 5 to 10 years that I need to focus on? Um, Also, keep a journal. Keep a journal. Write things down. I forget things all the time. I have post-its and notebooks, planners, digital planners and notebooks. I mean, I'm not going to write things down because even things as simple as last night, and I can't believe I remembered, but last night as I was falling asleep, I received a message that I needed to do this subject for this episode. I don't know why. Hopefully, I'm going to help somebody out there, but this is also helping me in turn, right? So I was laying there and something said to me, instead of the episode you already recorded, just get rid of that. You'll do that at another time. Record something on Shadow Self. We're about to come to a retrograde starting the beginning of March, and we are in the year of transformation. It's numerology number 9 for 2025, right? And It's all about healing and transformations. Sorry, guys. I can't believe I'm yawning this much. Oh man. And I've had two things of coffee too. Holy crap, toddler, or the first toddler stage when they turn one is hitting hard, and she's not even one yet. She's turning one in 2 weeks. I am not ready. What is the sleep regression? Is that part of my shadow self? Is healing the mom that I need to be? Probably. Some of the benefits of working with your shadow self is you're going to gain a better understanding of yourself and you become more balanced. So when you heal these parts of you, you don't have that need to be seen so much. And not a need to be seen like, oh, I want to be seen online. I want my products to sell. I want my services to sell. Being seen as far as you're not necessarily that pick me person where you consistently have to tell people the cool and good things that you do so that you stay in the center of attention. You're not going to need that as much. You're going to be able to give attention to others because you're going to heal that part in you, that shadow self that needs to be seen so bad, and realize that the right people are going to see you. You need to see yourself. You need to give yourself that attention. You need to understand yourself. This is also a great potential for growth. This is you transforming into your best and highest self. This is you healing yourself for the potential of society and being an amazing part of society because we don't need more people that are unhealed. We need more people that are healed out there to spread their light, especially now. Uh, if you look at a global scale right now, the global scale is we are all on this age of Aquarius, time of transformation. Things are in motion. The world is in a shadow self. We need to help heal the world, so to speak. And collectively, and subconsciously, we are all connecting to do this together. Whether or not we're doing it at the same time, we are healing that shadow self of the world. So remember, the shadow self is more than just your bad parts. It is the part of ourselves that wants to be loved just as we are and not have to worry about perfection. So always keep that in mind as far as, you know, not having to be perfect. And perfect timing, the wee one just woke up. I am going to head out. I hope everyone has a phenomenal rest of your week. Thanks for stopping by, and I will see you next episode.